We all experience hurt in life, deep wounds that can leave us feeling broken, lost, and even unsure of who we are. But what happens when those wounds begin to heal? How do we know we're moving through the pain, reclaiming elements of our natural self, and stepping into our true selves? Because that is the process that unfolds. And how do you know you've resolved and come to a place of acceptance with a reasonable amount of what was an area of pain and hurt from your past? Hi, I'm Melinda, and in this video, I'm going to explore how healing has layers to it and echoes to it, and how you can recognize when you've truly moved through past pain and healed the parts of you that deserve your attention, acceptance, and love. Something you will know all too well. Healing is not always a linear path. Healing has its own wisdom, its own timing, and its own way that it unfolds. But there are undeniable signs that a profound shift in healing has occurred. And today, that's what I'm going to be sharing with you. I'm really aware that healing is often an ongoing process, and I'm sure you are too, one that we often want to stop. But it's not just something that happens once and is done. There can be layers to it. You may feel you've made progress, that you've had significant breakthroughs, that you've healed something, only to find echoes of the same issue resurfacing, where you find yourself revisiting similar things later on. Yet, I bet they're presenting a new focus each time. These echoes, well, they're not setbacks. They are opportunities for you to dive deeper into yourself and reclaim even more of yourself. And each time you peel back a layer, you will gain a new perspective, a deeper understanding of yourself. Let me share a personal example. In my 30s, I realized how much I desperately, and it was desperately needed, there's that word, my mother to tell me how proud of me she was. It was a really deep-seated need that stemmed from years of feeling unseen. Several of her friends would often tell me how proud she was, which was really lovely, of course, but it wasn't the same as hearing it from her. And after many attempts to communicate this need with her, even with a few emotional outbursts, because let's be real, we've all been there and it happens, her response still remained the same. You know I am. You don't need me to say it. Oh, the familiar sting of unmet needs. But then it hit me, a realization as clear as day. I didn't need her to be proud of me. I needed to be proud of myself. And so I embarked on that journey. And as it is with the beautiful process of neediness, when you fill it yourself, you create the space for what you were needy of to flow to you. Because you're no longer needy of it. You're no longer grasping up for it or trying to push it away. It created the space for her to say those words directly to me. She began expressing her pride openly and to me personally. But here's the plot twist. This was unfamiliar to me. I didn't know how to receive it. Years of longing and yearning and needing her to say it. And now there was a bit of distrust because of what I'd shared with her. And all my self-sabotage, that old belief that maybe I wasn't actually worthy of receiving what I yearned for, arose. Another layer to unpack, and this time focused on my self-worth. But that's the thing about healing. It's a journey, not a destination. So how do you know you've moved through significant healing? Well, during those intense periods of pain and growth, the shifts are often really obvious. You go from a place of feeling a lot of hurt and pain to a place of acceptance, peace, and even empowerment. You feel different inside emotionally and energetically. But sometimes the signs are quieter and subtler. Here are a few ways that you will know you've truly moved through a significant amount of healing. 1. Your internal landscape changes. You feel different emotionally and energetically. It's not just that the pain has gone. There's a new sense of peace, a new sense of wholeness and groundedness. 2. Triggers lose their power. You can be around the person in the same types of situations or talking about the same things that used to set you off emotionally, and you find yourself not reacting. And it's like you never ever did, and nothing ever bothered you previously, even though it did. Or maybe you feel a flicker of the old emotion, but it no longer consumes you and controls you. 3. A new perspective emerges. It's like the blinkers have fallen away and the earmuffs have come off, and you become aware of aspects of the person, situation, topic, or experience that you were not aware of before. You see and hear and feel it differently, and you are no longer in emotional protection mode looking for the old pattern that potentially is going to trigger you. 4. Your choices reflect your growth. You find yourself making decisions from a place of empowerment, not from the wounded place. 5. Patterns dissolve. The repetitive, hurtful patterns that you once found yourself in, well, they simply stop. 6. You're more open. Your energy is fluid. It's open, receptive, and responsive to the person, the topic, or the situation. 7. You find yourself moving on from the relationship. You let go of the need to hold on to the relationship because you've accepted it has completed its journey. 8. Old thoughts lose their charge. You either no longer think about the experience, or if memories do surface, well, they don't carry the same emotional weight because they've been processed and integrated. 9. Your appreciation arises. You can look back at the experience, even with its pain, and you can see the value and the gift in it, the lesson learned and the benefits gained from it. 10. What you lacked, well, it starts flowing to you, whether it's love, validation, belonging. What you yearned for begins to show up in your life because you've healed the wound within that was blocking it. 11. You actively initiate what you missed out on. You no longer have thoughts that you don't deserve what you experienced a lack of in. And you make choices from a place of self-worth and deservedness. Now, in amongst your healing, I know you will have experienced this, but the ripple effect happens and your relationships are impacted. It's important to acknowledge that as you heal, the dynamics in your relationships can shift too. The people in your life, well, you may even find them reacting in unexpected ways, especially those who were used to the old you and the way you used to be. They may even try to trigger you to behave as you did previously because that was familiar and comfortable, even if it was painful. The change you've gone through potentially can have an impact that leaves them feeling vulnerable. And sometimes when we release emotionally triggered patterns, the people around us start to confront their own processing. And that's because you're no longer holding responsibility for it. The energy you carried is now complete. And it's now their turn to go through their healing process. But that's only if they choose to. It may even create friction and even temporary distance. But this is often a necessary part of the process. Because remember, true healing has a ripple effect. And as you step into your power and wholeness, will you give others permission to do the same? You, through your healing process, change the dynamic of your interaction, even if it is at an emotional and energetic level. Healing isn't always easy, but it's the bravest, most rewarding journey you'll ever embark on. Because you get to connect to the true you. It's not a one-time event, but a journey of continuous unfolding, understanding, and integration. And as you navigate these layers, I really encourage you to be gentle with yourself. Also celebrate your progress. And remember that every step towards healing as a step towards reclaiming your true self. And take the time to recognize every change you experience in your healing, no matter the size. A change is a change. And every time you acknowledge it, well, you strengthen your confidence to heal even more. If you'd like to explore your emotional triggers further, there's a link below for you to grab my workbook for free. My workbook on identifying emotional triggers. And if what I've shared connects with you and has value to you, then please do like and subscribe. And I'd love to hear your thoughts. So please do share about your own healing experiences and even ask me questions in the comments below. Trust your process of healing. Trust the strength and the resilience and the power you have within you to be able to move through that hurt and pain, and for you to reconnect to more of what's natural to you and the true you.